As Tony discussed briefly yesterday, there's a photo circulating on the social media platform X. It came out this week and it reveals that a presentation that we used for training at Fort Liberty, which is a U.S. Army base in North Carolina, but it referred to pro-life groups as terrorist organizations. For those of you viewing, we've got a photo of that up here. For those of you who are listening right now, we've got this photo. You can probably find it online. But the presentation listed several pro-life groups, including the National Right to Life and Operation Rescue. They also referred to opponents of Roe. Roe, by the way, they spelled R-O-W. But opponents of Roe v. Wade are also terrorists. Well, after getting caught, Fort Liberty responded on Facebook claiming that the presentation does not reflect the views of Fort Liberty. But if this training does not reflect the views of the Biden administration as it relates specifically to the military, then why do incidents like this keep happening? That's an extremely important question. And joining me now to discuss this and more is Congressman Mark Alford. He serves on the great House Armed Services Committee. He represents the 4th Congressional District of Missouri. Congressman Alford, always great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Congressman. Good to be with you.
Well, listen, what was your reaction when you learned about this incident at Fort Liberty?
Well, first off, just to catch folks up, Fort Liberty is the new woke name for Fort Bragg. Of course, several years ago, they started changing the names because the people who these bases were named after weren't perfect human beings. But anyway, I continue to call it Fort Bragg. I think this was a disgusting move. I think it is a symptom of the sickness within our military service right now. Not everyone, of course, but this is the woke ideology that the Biden administration and before that, the Obama administration has instilled in the young men and women, and coming down from our generals to get people to be more progressive Democrat way of thinking. I think it's disgusting. I think the Armed Services Committee is going to take a good, strong look at this. Yes, they have changed this because of the public pressure. But look, when you equate a terrorist group like Hamas to a great group like the National Right to Life and Operation Rescue, one group, Hamas, that literally cut babies out of the wombs of women and burned them alive on October 7th, and then another group that's actually trying to save babies being cut from the womb. How can you call both the same name? I think it's wrong. It's immoral.
Yeah, ask the baby which one's a terrorist, for sure. We were talking a little bit in the previous segment about how this administration seems to have patterns of wrong behavior, wrong decisions, lawlessness, a host of things that we could fill in the gap. Is this yet another pattern with the Biden administration's military?
Well, I think it is. We've seen this. Look, Jody, I'm a freshman congressman. As you know, I've only been on the Armed Services Committee for about 18 months. We were honored to have Chairman Rogers here in our district yesterday, touring Whiteman Air Force Base, home of the B-2 stealth bomber, soon to be home of the B-21. And look, we are concentrating on being a strong deterrent against communist China and the bully that Xi Jinping is, and the craziness from Putin, all brought up about because of the weakness of Joe Biden on the world stage. We have got to concentrate on the existential threats facing America right now. And those are our national debt and those two bullies, along with the Iranian mullahs, who want to kill us and who want to kill Israel, wipe it off the face of the earth. And so when the military concentrates on things like trying to call right to life groups terrorists, we've got a real problem.
What do you think the Armed Services Committee is going to do about this? You referenced that just a moment ago. Are we going to see some oversight, some hearings, some investigations, hopefully some consequences to this type of thing? Where do you see Armed Services going with this?
Well, I'm going to be talking to Chairman Rogers about this in the appropriate subcommittee to get a hearing on this, to call the commander of that base up to Washington, D.C. to answer some questions. How does this happen? Look, mistakes happen. People down the food chain tend to follow their own way sometime. But in order to solve a problem, we have to find out what went wrong in that chain. and fix that link, remove that link or fix that link so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and that is kind of the general thing. We have something like this break out. We have a whistleblower, somebody comes forward, they talk about this happened. Then we have in this case, Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty saying, oh, well, this is not, that doesn't reflect our opinion. And yet it happens again. It happens again and again and again. I think it's appropriate to have some sort of oversight over this. It's time to stop this type of thing from happening again and again, not just telling us, oh, we're going to stop it. It ultimately continues going on. And at the end of the day, would you not agree with it? At the end of the day, what it's going to take to change all this is a new commander in chief. I mean, isn't that kind of the issue?
It's going to take Donald J. Trump being back behind that resolute desk, being the resolute leader that America and the world needs, to knock some heads, to get the generals to start acting like generals and not politicians, and to get some sanity back in the DOD.
That would be a breath of fresh air. Congressman Mark Alford, always great to have you. Thanks for the incredible job you do, and thank you for joining us today on Washington Watch.
Thank you. God bless, Jody.